Welcome to another episode of the Unprofessional Parenting Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lainey.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest with us. Lainey, tell us about our guest.
Yeah, today we have Billy Babbino on our episode. Billy works for an agency that's near and dear to us personally, our licensing agency, A Door of Hope. He has done recruitment and licensing of foster parents. He has worked in church engagement. He works in communications and how all of that world works when it comes to licensing and being a foster parent. So we're excited to have him on today to talk about all of the mysteries and myths of becoming licensed as a foster family.
So if you're thinking about becoming a foster family, we encourage you to share this with your friends or watch this episode, take it to heart, and hear what we have to say. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Unprofessional Parenting. We're your hosts, Matt and Lainey.
I'm Lainey, a licensed clinical social worker with over a decade of experience working in child welfare.
And I'm Matt, with more than 10 years working in church ministry. And together, we're foster and adoptive parents who know firsthand that parenting is anything but perfect.
We're here to laugh, learn, and share the real side of raising foster and adoptive kids. Parenting isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up even when you feel completely unprofessional at it.
So let's get into today's conversation. Well, like I said before, we have a very special guest here with us today. This is Billy. Billy.
Hey guys.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be here.
Good.
That's great.
Good,
Will you
good.
tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Billy. I work with A Door of Hope, which is a Christ-centered foster care agency in Florida. And of course, we've licensed you guys.
Yeah.
So we let you guys be foster parents.
Is that
huge.
crazy?
Which it is a little,
Right.
but you know, God can do amazing things
Yes.
with so little.
With so little.
I'm kidding. You guys are so great.
That's
No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say my earliest memory of Billy, it was when we were talking about becoming foster parents, and we went to licensing classes.
Yeah.
And we were there, and Billy was teaching.
Yeah, you
were
literally trained us.
Yes.
Yeah, which is scary.
Right?
No.
I think he trained us pretty well. We're decent.
Yeah.
I'd say
I
we're
would
decent.
say more than decent.
Yeah, okay.
I would say more than
I
decent.
appreciate that.
So yeah.
But you were there and you were leading the class, and you said the right things to make us want to take the step forward. So congratulations on being convincing.
Hey, you know what?
But also I do think that, God used you in an incredible way in our life just to speak the truth about what foster care is, and gave us the confidence and courage to step forward and take that step. So I don't know if you ever knew that about just your role in our lives in the past 5 years, but there we go.
Well, praise God for that. So
Yeah.
It's definitely all him, because
Yeah.
I say most things are not very smart. So anything I said that motivated you guys was definitely from God.
It was just the voice of God through
Yep.
your mouth.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mouthpiece.
Yeah.
I'm a mouthpiece.
So you've held several different roles within
Yeah.
A Door of Hope. So you've seen kind of a lot of different perspectives on the licensing process from beginning through seeing a family be licensed and foster, and including homes closing. So tell us kind of just a little bit about the perspectives you've had in the licensing world.
Yeah. So I have done everything from working with families in the very beginning, like you guys, to training them, to teaching them what it looks like to be a foster parent, what it could look like to bring children in your home. I've been in homes. I've done the home studies. I've done the background checks. I've done the assessments. If they assess the great families, I've assessed not so great families and had to have hard conversations saying, this might not be for you. I've been in homes that have taken in children, and I've walked with families through the highest of highs and also just the lowest of lows, because foster care is both amazing and heartbreaking, all at the same time.
Absolutely.
So I've done all that. I've led one of our teams, our licensing teams at one point. In fact, I led your licensing specialist that was in your home.
You had people reporting to you.
I had people.
You were in
reporting to me.
charge of other people.
some sort of leadership is good.
Yeah, some sort. Yeah, which you should question our leadership that they allowed that. But no, it is scary now I think about it. But yeah, so I've had that experience, and then the last few years I've been specifically engaging churches and pastors and church leaders and different community partners to help them figure out what could it look like for them to be involved in foster care.
Yeah.
To get in the trenches to do something for the need in this community.
Yeah. So for the people who are not foster parents yet.
Yeah, it is the key there.
Yes.
Got it.
We have listeners who listen to this content because they are curious about what it might mean to be a foster family.
Yeah.
But they aren't there yet and haven't taken the step yet.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit for those people, like, what does the licensing process look like? Like, what does that mean to become licensed?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. For us at A Door of Hope, the very first step for anyone is really just to have the curiosity and to be willing to just say yes to that next step of, I want to find out more through an informational session. So Door of Hope, we do those every single week, every Monday night online on Zoom, from 6:30 to 7:30. And for us, it's a very much a no pressure, no commitment level that you're just showing up to just ask questions and be curious.
Yeah.
Because most people, when they start thinking about this, they're not ready for the full yes of like, let's bring in 14 kids, most of them teenagers.
Of course, always.
And then like, we're ready. Most people, again, they're kind of, they have that curiosity and they have that, maybe that pulling that maybe God is giving them, that like, I should be doing something in this.
Yeah. And
so we want to nurture that, and we want to steward that curiosity well, and help bring them in to be able to talk to them like, this is what it could look like.
Yeah.
Like this is what it could be, and help like take down any kind of barriers that they may have, ideas that they may have that aren't true, and really help them see like, hey, if God's calling you to this, like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can really do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the barriers that you see coming out of these informational sessions of parents asking questions? They have fears. Like, what are the common threads of those questions you see in this?
Oh, there's a lot. For one, I think, the big picture, people generally have a negative view of the system, right? The foster care system. And so there's a lot of fears. And I have a friend who went through it, and they experienced A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can do that.
Right.
What I'll say is every situation is different. And the foster care, their system, I don't like to talk about it in such a negative way. Like, brokenness, we hear the system is broken. Like, it is broken, but that's because like every human system is broken.
Every system.
Every human system is broken.
Human being.
We live between Genesis 3 and Revelation 21. So like everything in between that is broken. So is it broken? Yes. There's broken systems inside the church. Like, it exists. So yeah, that's there. But like, there's also this thing in scripture we see that God like wants us to run towards brokenness, right? And God wants us to run towards that and do something. And so like, if he wants us to do that, he's going to be with us in that, and he's going to help guide us through. So that's like a big thing. We see the system is like maybe a barrier for people, but once we can kind of figure out like, that's all right. Like, the kids still need you. The kids, like, no kid asked to be in the foster care system. Exactly. I don't know if that's surprised anyone. There's not a single kid who woke up one morning and said, you know what? I want to be in foster care.
Yes.
Right.
No kid got to choose it.
Right.
We are the ones who get to choose to be in it. So we choose to enter brokenness for the sake of the ones who didn't get to choose it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
So that's a big one.
Yeah.
But then there's like other things, like maybe you're a single mom, like that I foster. Some of our best foster parents are single moms.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah.
We've said this before on episodes.
Yes.
I like, single foster parents are my heroes. Like, they blow my mind with the capacity that they have and the depths in which they work and take care of kids by themselves.
Yeah, single moms in general, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
Just all,
For
it's
sure.
amazing. Like, I have 3 kids, and I'm doing it with my wife, and most days I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
How do we do
We've had
this?
this conversation before. Like, how do single parents do it? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So, but we have some single moms that do good, do so well in it, and are some of our best foster parents. So what we hear a lot, of course, is like, I just don't think I can do this because I'll get too attached.
Yep.
That's my favorite line.
That's my favorite too. And I love to tell people like, oh, you will get too attached.
Right.
Like, oh, you will. But that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what these kids need.
Like, why are we trying to parent and not attach to kids? That's what an odd concept.
And I get where it's coming from. It's the meaning behind that is they want to protect their heart, and they're afraid of like, do I have what it takes to be able to like grieve when the child leaves?
Yes.
Can I go through that? So I understand the heart behind it. But again, like I said, because especially with Door of Hope, that we're a Christ-centered organization, and we understand this isn't just a good thing, but like a God thing. Yeah. That like we can do really hard things.
Right.
God will help us and be with us to do really hard things.
Right.
And so you'll get too attached, but it'll also be the greatest thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and there's little things about like, do I have enough bedrooms?
Right.
How will it affect my own biological kids?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's another
Like that
one
as well. And so
Yeah.
we kind of talk a lot about those things and help people see like, these are all normal fears and normal thoughts to have, but that we have had people that have had these same questions and have done it and have loved it.
Yeah. So you almost have to acknowledge that there is a fear at the base and foundation of everyone's hesitancy. It's just fear of the unknown. Yeah. Fear of the unknown, fear of something traumatic happening, fear of being sad or stressed or whatever. But fear is also not an excuse to stay out of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, it for sure isn't. And it's, in fact, I think it's healthy. Like there should be a healthy fear in that. Like you're saying yes to entering into a system of brokenness and darkness. You're taking in a child in your home who's experienced sometimes some horrific abuse and trauma. You know, you're inviting that into your home. You're inviting all the background they come with, the biological parents and things like that. And let's be honest, like as Christians, we spend a lot of time trying to like protect ourselves and be comfortable and you know, I'm a parent, right? Like my kids go to a Christian school.
Right.
Like we made the decision to put our kids in a Christian school.
Right. In the
you know,
bubble.
part of it was like, because like, you know, we would think we would protect our kids and put them in a Christian atmosphere. Like, so there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect ourselves and do the bubbles necessarily. But if we do that too much, you know, and we never actually step out into like what God's calling us to, we'll never really get to experience all God has for us. And so that fear is good. In fact, I like the fear, I think, better than maybe the person who comes who's so confident that they have this all figured out.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen any of those?
Oh yeah, sometimes. And those are
there
sometimes.
two sitting next to you right now?
No, you guys definitely were not that. You guys, I remember. In fact, I remember in class that like one of the lunch days, it was an all day class on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then our team was at Chick-fil-A eating, and you guys happened to be there too. And so we were talking. I remember talking about some of these things, and worries and fears.
Yeah.
And I love it because I think again it's normal. And the people that come that are like confident and we can do this, we can do it well. I don't hate it. Like I think that's good. Sure. I just always think like, just wait.
Yeah.
Like just wait.
There's gonna be something that pops up.
Because and parenting kids who come from hard places, who come from trauma, like it's until you've done it, you just don't know.
Yeah, it's on the job training.
You just don't know.
Right.
Even in training, you know, I taught you guys a lot of stuff that you probably the first week of bringing a child in your home thought like, why didn't Billy say this?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't Billy? By the way, I did. You just forgot.
We've done full episodes on things like that.
It's impossible to cover everything, every situation, every circumstance that's going to step into your home. Right. Obviously, you guys do your best at covering the big ones or the question marks that people have in their minds. Yeah. But there's also a thing, you know, you guys also teach the fact that if you're stepping into what you believe God's put on your heart and you're being obedient and faithful to the Lord's calling in your heart to invite this into your home, that there's grace there. And that the strength of the Lord is on your side. Like there are certain things you will experience that you will not know how to react to or know the outcome to unless you are fully reliant on the grace of God in those moments. And so like that's, yes, you can cover all the fears you want in these informational sessions, but until you get into the game, you're gonna be like, oh, well, this is new. This is crazy. I didn't expect this, and this, whatever.
And we're strategic. We don't share every fear because we're not dumb.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
We want you guys to go forward.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and the truth is, if we had known every single thing and heartache and stress that was going to come over the past 6 years of our lives, on the front end, right? Like before we started, we might have said no.
I think it's God's grace that He doesn't show us all.
Yes.
I think it's God's grace. And I think that's most hard things in life. If we really knew in some of the most important things we did in life, every step that would be involved in that and what life would look like, we would say no to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's God's grace.
Yeah, absolutly. But then looking back in hindsight, we would never say no.
We would never change a single thing over the 6 years.
Right.
Well, you've heard me say in class, I tell our foster families, prospective families that you'll ask every family we've licensed. We've licensed over 500 of them since we started Door of Hope. Awesome. I would imagine if you asked 99.9% of them, like, was this hard? They would probably say it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But then you'd ask them, like, was it worth it? And every single one of them would say, absolutely. Because it's also one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
And those two live in tension.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all right.
They can both exist at the same time.
We've had this conversation with one of our daughters in particular. I vividly remember it because we were talking about just difficulty and how difficult some of her situations in life have been and how difficult some of her behaviors have been. And we've just had very honest conversations with her about like, you are making life very difficult for yourself, for us, for your siblings, for, like just, in conversations we have with her. And she started equating difficult to bad because her response to those conversations was, well, then get rid of me. Like if I'm too difficult and I'm making life too difficult, get rid of me. And it's this human desire or maybe this human reflex of like, if something's difficult or hard, I just need to get rid of it and not do it. But in that moment,
Or avoid it.
or avoid it. Right. But in that moment, I told her like, no, just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's bad. Like sometimes the most difficult things in life are the most worthy things of pressing into and doing and living with and experiencing. So just because something is difficult or hard doesn't mean that it should be avoided. It's very worthy cause many times.
I mean, we're being discipled by a culture that's trying to tell us our comfort is the most important thing.
Yes.
Like it's it. I mean, every commercial, like every product being sold is meant to make you more comfortable, meant to make something easier. So our whole lives have been that, right? We're hearing that. So we are by default, like, what do I do that helps me be comfortable and safe? And so that's not a complaint or like a knock on anyone because we've all been discipled into that.
Yeah,
and
so
so
good.
really, but then Jesus comes along and says, hey, pick up your cross and follow me. Which is the exact opposite of what culture is telling you.
So, he honored suffering for a worthy cause and for his glory. Okay. Question about families going through the licensing process. You said you all have licensed over 500 families,
incredible.
Which is incredible.
And I taught some of them, which is scary, but
even more incredible is that you've trained a lot of them.
I don't know if we would look at the stats of those ones who have stuck it out.
Oh man. So of those families, if you think of patterns, what has made you look at a family and go, they are going to make a great foster family, even if they felt unsure about themselves or the process?
Oh, that's great. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but it's humility, right? Like it's the humble attitude and the willing to learn and to just take the next step. Just say yes to the next thing. Like say yes to the info session, say yes to classes. Like not think you have it all together, not think that you have every answer, and just be willing to just trust God in the process. So I don't think it's like, again, the super confident families, like I'm grateful for them, but like, I think the ones that we see really shine and the ones that we see, just do so well and stick it out are the ones that are humble and understand that they don't have all the answers, but man, God is with them every single step of the way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's really important too. Like they don't have all the answers. Like you're not going to have all the answers on the front end. It's not the families who've read all the books. It's not the families who's been to all the parenting trainings.
Listens to all the unprofessional parenting podcasts.
It's not the family who's listened to every one of our episodes.
But I'm sure those families are great. And
unbelievable. Exactly.
Also, it's not the family who has the most resources and the most income.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
You're right.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Because there are people that think you have to have a certain income level or things like that for sure. No, it's just families that are humble, that love kids, that are just willing to come with Jesus with hands wide open and say like, use me, right? Here I am, use me. Absolutely.
Can we talk a little bit about, so family has an interest in joining the foster care journey, right? They go to an info session. And then we've been talking about these classes and trainings and stuff like that. Can we, for the person out there who's listening and like, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I have interest, like the interest meeting is great, but what does the process look like to be licensed? And what does Door of Hope do in that? And how do you equip in those licensing classes, but also post that? Like what is the support that's there.
That's great. Yeah. So you go to an info session, you decide, hey, I kind of want to go to the next step. The next step is doing our parenting classes, which are about 24 hours long, not in one sitting. No.
Straight.
Bring
That's
your
the
own
first
lunch.
We do them over a period of several weeks, and there's some online components to that as well.
Sure.
And a big part of that class is to, again, equip our families, and to help them understand that parenting a child who comes from hard places, who comes from trauma, is a little bit different. And I always tell our families too, like, if you've parented before, in class I'll say, you're probably here, if you're a parent before, that you think you did a pretty good job. Like, I don't think people come to class and say, like, I really screwed up the first batch of kids. I'm going to try again with a
Let me try it with somebody else's now.
I would have a concern if that was the attitude someone came in. Take two. No, but you usually come because, and rightfully so, you feel like, we have something to offer some children in our community who have need. We parented, we have children, and we feel like we can do something. And I applaud that, and we honor that. But we also will say, be humble and open that you can't parent children who come from hard places the same way you can parent your own children. In fact, anyone who's had more than one kid knows you don't even parent all your kids the same way. I have 3 girls, and there are some foundational things that we parent the same way. But
Absolutely.
we very much, they are disciplined differently. Because they react differently.
They need different things.
Yeah. So you can get every parenting book you want to tell you how you should do it. I got my feelings in parenting books, but anyway, but it's just having the humble attitude, right, and doing it. So in class, we talk about trauma. We talk about everything from discipline to behaviors to helping children heal from their trauma. We talk about the system of care, what it looks like, how the court system is run. If you bring a kid in your home, what is it going to look like? How long will they be there? What are the bio parents doing during that time? What are their court hearings? What do they look like? We talk about co-parenting, which again, in the foster care world, it means that having a relationship, hopefully if it's safe and appropriate, with the biological parent, because in foster care, as we know, I'm sure you talked about, reunification is the main goal. And we applaud that, and we praise God when that happens, because this child was placed in the family originally, the original family of origin. That's where God put that child. And if that situation can be restored and redeemed, like, man, we applaud that, because that's just all praise to God. And so we teach our families, like, how do you react? How do you work with bio parents? Not only that, like, how do you minister to them? How do you disciple them with the children in your home as well? So we talk all about that. And so we do that. Once you finish classes, you get a great certificate.
We've talked about that.
When you guys took it, you got a professional parenting.
We did.
Like, you guys are professional parents. Even though it's called unprofessional.
Hang it like right here.
It's a different class title. It's the same material. It's just packaged a little bit differently now. The state changes all the time.
So
with the
are you telling me that parents no longer get certificates that tell them they are professional parents?
I don't think it says those words anymore. So what you guys have is rare.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I would look on eBay what you can sell it for if I were you.
No, literally, that certificate is the basis
for this
podcast brand.
Listen, well then God's timing is
bring them back.
Because if you would have came a little bit later, this podcast would have a much more boring name.
Wow.
Completed classes.
So
yes.
So you said something that reminded me of many conversations we have had off record that I think is really important to put on the record. So I'm sure you've had tons of families that come into class and tell you, I am here because, like, what's your why? What is the reason you're in this room? And so many parents, I'm sure, have said, because I've heard it, so I know you've heard it, I really want to adopt a baby. We really want to grow our family. We want to adopt a child from the foster care system. So what do you say to those families if that is their goal in becoming foster parents?
I've never heard that, Lainey.
I'm sure you haven't.
I'm pretty sure that was like one of the first things you guys talked about when we went to our licensing class.
We do talk about it, So I will say I was an adoption worker for a while before I went to the nest. So I love adoption. I applaud adoption. Adoption is an amazing pictured illustration of the gospel. What God does for us. And so when someone comes and they first say, they want to adopt a foster care system. What we don't do is shoot them down and say, get out of here. Some organizations may, some licensing things may. I want to applaud it and honor that. And if God has given you a desire in your heart to adopt, if God has called you to do that, I don't want to discount that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's a God thing. But what we want to be is very honest about what foster care is. You know, we want to be honest about what foster care is and say, you know, the goal of foster care is reunification with the biological parents. Why we do that, why that matters, and why these parents that like how great it is when they get to reunify. So we talk about that. And then I tell our families, I say, listen, why you come in the beginning, I don't want to assume that there can't be any kind of heart change or any kind of desire or order changed. And so I'll say, I would encourage families, like, don't quit now unless you absolutely feel like you could never foster. I said, like, stay curious and ask more questions, because maybe God is using your desire to adopt, like, to bring you down this road.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not, but maybe he is. And so I say, what I want you to think about this. I don't want you to lose your desire to adopt.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say get rid of it.
Right.
I just want you to see what the mission of this is. You know, is working with biological families, working towards reunification, the safety of the child.
Yeah.
And maybe ordering the desires.
Yeah.
Say, while I'm doing this and this work, like, my desire first and foremost is going to be foster care. Not that I'm losing the adoption desire. I'm just ordering it correctly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and trust God that, like, if adoption is something God has for a family, like, that'll happen. Whatever it is, maybe through foster care, maybe it's through private adoption, maybe it's through a way you don't even know.
Yeah.
And so we try to disciple people through that. We don't just want to shoot people down and said, like, how dare you want to adopt? These are not your children.
Wrong class. It's next door.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But we do want to disciple it well and help people see. And, but then also be real with them too. But if that's impossible for you, like, if you're like, no, we want to adopt, that's it, then we'll kindly point them to organizations where it can happen.
Yeah.
And that would be good for them, because that just means that that's what God's calling them to. And it's just, you know, we don't match up with what A Door of Hope's calling is, what their calling is. It just doesn't match up. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's different. Yeah.
It's not a wrong desire, but it does need to be tempered and open-minded in the foster care system, because you're not guaranteed adoption in the foster care system.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to try to reunify that child with the biological parent. But then, like, second option, if that's not plausible, is reunifying the child with a biological family member.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what we see a lot too, is when reunification with the biological parent doesn't work out. I have seen a lot of foster families, maybe, I don't know if taken by surprise is the right term, but for lack of better terms, they're almost surprised and a little shaken that aunt is considered or grandma is considered, or right. And then there's this feeling and almost ownership of, like, but I've had this child, but I've been raising this child, but the system again wants to do all things possible when safe and appropriate to get that child back to their biological family members in some way. So truly, it's a healthy thing for foster parents to go in, or potential foster parents to go into this process knowing you are most likely last resort for the permanency of this child. Is that fair to say? Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think for us, obviously we talk about adoption. We don't talk about it a lot because it's not the primary goal. But,
right.
We know. I mean, families adopt and we celebrate it when it does. And this is one of those things too. It's like, we can say a lot, but it's hard until you actually do it.
Of course.
And also, like, you can sit in a classroom and hear, like, so you can hear foster care, reunification only, and you can even be like, I agree. Then you bring a child in your home.
Yeah.
Then you bring a child in your home, and I was just talking to someone, in fact, like 2 days ago about this. Like, you bring a child in your home and everything changes because you see a child.
Yeah.
And not that you're, like, now fighting against reunification, but now there's a tension in your heart, in your life. And I understand that.
Yep.
I mean, because, like, again, foster care only exists because we live in a broken world, right? Like, there's no foster care in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't think. No, there's not. There's no foster care in heaven.
Right.
There wasn't foster care, you know? And so it's not God's design for a child to come in your home who's not your own, to be the parent for them for any amount of time, and then send them somewhere else. That's not the original design. I mean, it's now how God has made things happen now in a broken world. And it's good and it's holy and we should do it. But like, so there's part of us that when that happens for our family is like, it is hard. And I get that. And it's hard to walk through it. And it's funny. Like we have families that come to class and again, say they don't want to adopt, and they're adopting 3 kids.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like, someone who did that.
And then we have families actually come in the very beginning that like, they have a very strong adoption motivation. And like, they'll be in class, they'll be like they might never say it, but they might be thinking like, I hope I get one of those adoptable kids.
Yeah.
Comes to my home right away.
Yeah.
We sometimes get funny questions like that in the very beginning before they go through class. Like, so like if I come through your program, can like you make sure that you give us like the kids that are gonna be open for adoption? Like foster care doesn't work like
As
that.
if you can predict which child that's going to be.
Like we have those ones in the back room. That's like the secret code.
Right.
We'll go get them for you. You know, like it doesn't work. Like there's not a secret menu, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. But you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't exist. And so,
know exactly what you're saying.
but sometimes those families that I feel like have the motivation end up being the most amazing co-parenting families, and end up like really jumping on board because again, it's about humility, right? And stepping in, and trusting God. At the end of the day, it's about trusting God.
Yes.
Like trusting God on the journey and just saying yes to that next yes. Like don't worry about saying 5 yeses down the road.
Right.
What's just the next yes?
Exactly.
And sometimes all that next yes is like just showing up today.
Yep.
And just loving this kid.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I'm a parent of 3 girls. They're my biological children, so I've had them since birth. And people who adopt or foster, we kind of all have the same like mission or the same thing from God. Like we are called as parents to steward our time with our children for as long as we have them.
Yeah.
Like, and for mine, it's 18 years, maybe beyond, who knows? One of my kids, I feel like for a long time, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's
the same applies.
But it's no different for a foster parent.
Exactly.
You're called to steward that child as long as they're in your home, whether it be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or the rest of their life. And so we can only worry about the now.
Yeah. We've talked about that a lot. The exact same, like you have them in your home. It could be for a season, could be for a very long time.
Yeah.
But like you are called to be the best you can be. In that season.
And pointing to Jesus, right?
Exactly.
Jesus.
So my question for those who are still apprehensive, can you give us a picture of what the cost is for staying on the sidelines and not pursuing
not
the
the financial cost.
$5,000.
Like, what is the cost of someone if a person is being called, like they know in their heart they're being called to foster, but they put it off or they say no or they don't do it? Like, what is the cost there?
Yeah, well, there's a need. I mean, I think the one thing is that there's children right now that need a home. There's children that need a home, and I don't ever want to say that in a way that is manipulative or guilt. I'm like the Sarah McLachlan commercial with it.
Right.
Arms of an Angel.
Arms of Angels. Yeah, like we could do those commercials. But it's just a fact. Like we have a community right now that there's children who need a foster home. Yeah. There's children who need parents for a time. And the church is just uniquely set up to be able to help it out. And so that's part of it. The cost is that there's a child who may never get to experience the love of a home, of a Christian home, especially if the church doesn't step in, if individuals don't step in. For them personally, for people, if God is calling you to it, I think the cost is just that if he's calling you to it, there's so many blessings God has for you in it. Right? There's so much growth God has for you in it. That doesn't mean there's not pain. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean that it's going to be smooth, but it means God's got something really good for you in it. And he's going to grow you. He's going to bless you in different ways. And so you're missing out on some of that. And that's not like a prosperity thing. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's this idea that like when we're walking in a way that God has called us to, like I said, it may hurt. It may be painful. In fact, it probably will be.
Most likely.
Like the blessings that come on the other end and come through it, and the growth that happens is like on anything else. So, yeah.
I love that. So. I think one of the best things, and we can put a kind of a bow on this episode, is go through the licensing process. We've talked about the info session. We've talked about the classes. You go home from those, you get the certificate that says you're a professional parent or whatever it says now. Yeah. I don't know what it says, but some sort of certificate.
I'm going for unprofessional parent.
You're a decent parent now.
You're pretty mid. You get to that point where you go back home and then you get the call and there's like, hey, we have so-and-so who needs a home, who needs a bed. Yeah. And you have that decision. Like like you're looking at your spouse or you're just there by yourself thinking in your mind, like, okay, this is it. Like, this is it. Like, this is me stepping into the space that God has called me to, being obedient and being faithful. And that child enters the home. There's so many emotions that go the first day, first week, first year, for however long it is. Yeah. It's not always a year, but you have so many emotions, so many things that go into that moment. And I think one of the greatest things about your organization and even the church that we are a part of and the community that we have. And I will tell anybody, the reason why we've been able to do this over the past 6 years is because of the support system that exists there. What does it look like for somebody who's thinking about, okay, I went through licensing, I'm part of this organization, and now I'm home with the children, whatever. Like, what does that look like? Yeah. What does the support look like, or what would you encourage there? So talk about support from a Door of Hope's perspective, like what you guys do to support foster families, and then talk about the importance of community in raising these kids as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense totally. Yeah, for Door of Hope, support for us is a big deal. Yeah. You guys know that. Yeah. Like we one of our very foundations and one of our very like core values of us is that our families know that they're not walking this journey alone. Yeah. That they feel support. And so that means like always being available, you know, always having someone to talk to, always being on call for you guys when something hard is going on. It means connecting with resources that actually help and keep the child. For us, we have a great therapeutic program. Shaylee Schneider, who I'm throwing her name out because she's awesome. She works for us. She's a therapeutic coordinator, director of therapeutic services, I think is her official title.
Love that.
But if you're a Door of Hope family, you know Shaylee very well, and you know that she will walk through crisis situations with you. She will coach you through hard things, and she will connect you with the proper resources, whether it be a therapist, a counselor. And for us, it's not just even about the child, it's about the family as well. We also will provide support, counseling and services, therapeutic services, coaching for the foster parents, for the biological kids. We've done marriage counseling for some of our families as well, because we understand that taking foster kids is going to put stress on your marriage, you know, because it's parenting puts a stress on your marriage, you know, it changes things. And so for us, it's a big deal that we come around our families in a way that honors their yes and supports them through it. Because we understand that, you know, you can hear different stats and different things, but you'll hear it said that most foster parents in the nation will close about a year in because they don't feel supported. That's not acceptable to us because that's an easy fix. Right? Like there's hard things in the system. There's like really hard things to fix in the system. What's not hard to fix is making sure foster parents are supported well.
Right.
And so 100%. We do it, and we do it well. I think we do it well.
You guys do it excellently.
And it's because I'm not doing it. Other people are doing it really well. And then of course the local church, right? To support them. It's just, I mean, it's a built-in community that, like we see in scripture, is meant to support each other. I was just randomly, I was talking to someone about Acts chapter 2 this morning about the day of Pentecost. If you remember, Peter preaches this great sermon about the gospel, and everyone says are cut to the heart, and they repent, they're baptized, they give their life to Jesus. And it says like after they were converted, like right away, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to prayer, to fellowship, breaking of bread. And then it says that they just all of a sudden sold everything they had and they gave to each other, and no one was in need. Like the natural reaction to the gospel for them was like, now like we have a family and your burden is now my burden. Like when you celebrate, I celebrate. When you mourn, I mourn. And so like that's what the church is like supposed to be in its purest form, right? And so when we, like for us, we say when the Gibneys step up at their church and say we're foster parents, like we want the church around them to be like, you know what, we're fostering too. They may never take a kid in, you know, but because now your burden is my burden, you know, and we're going to celebrate when you celebrate, and we're going to support you when you need it. And so the church is perfectly set up for that because it's meant to be that, right? And so, so we talk to our families, we talk to church partners and pastors, like, it's not just about getting 100 foster parents to the church. It's about getting the church to understand that this is our, like we can all do something together and support each other.
Love that. Yeah, that's the reason why, again, that is the reason why we've been able to do this. And so maybe you're out there watching this and you're not in this region where we serve, where Door of Hope is and can license you.
We are in 11 counties now, by the way.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. But there may be in a different state or something like that. And, you know, we encourage you, get involved with the church organization organization, things of that nature, who can support and offer those support services to you. And it's very important. It's the reason why we've been able to do what we've done, and so many of your families have been able to stay in the game and serve so many families.
Yeah, and I will also say that for those who are local in our areas that you serve in our counties, which I don't even know what to describe it as anymore, because it's not just Tampa Bay.
Right.
Like we say West Central Florida, but there's like some Southwest Florida. But no one, So we're all the way from, I mean, if you know Florida, we're kind of on the West Coast, but even some central counties now, from Sarasota all the way up to Ocala.
Yeah.
So kind of every county in between.
Yeah.
So 11 counties.
So we are going to link A Door of Hope's information, and we're also going to provide a link to those Monday night online virtual info sessions, right? Non-committal, bring your questions, and A Door of Hope will answer them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try our best.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, Billy, thank you for being on this episode.
It's been my pleasure.
You've been awesome. You've given us so much insight to what it actually looks like, and from your perspective and the organization you serve at. We're very thankful for conversations like these. And if you out there like this conversation, like this content, we encourage you to like our stuff, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends as well. If you are a foster parent on the edge of your seat trying to figure out, do I step into the game, or what's my next step, man, don't wait, don't hesitate. There's so much good that comes of that, and God will obviously honor your step and commitment, and your faithfulness to His calling on your life.
Absolutely.
This has been Matt, Billy, and Lainey, and we can't wait to see you at our next episode of the Unprofessional Parenting Podcast. Thanks.